One of our objectives is to educate referees across the world. That's from grassroots through to elite level. We want referees from every country to be the best referee that they can be at the level that they referee at. So a big part of the URF Academy is the international exchange programme, which involves face-to-face training camps in the UK, in the US, Asia, or all around the world. So we wanted to run a first event in conjunction with the City Academy at the Etihad and bring our colleagues from the US over to see and experience the Premier League experience of refereeing.
This is about us preparing referees to manage games at all levels. So if we look at the modern referee, they need to be fit, mobile. They need to be able to use that fitness to its maximum. So we're guiding them how to train, how to remain fit, through nutrition advice, through man management skills, body language, all things that, if you like, are additional to the simple task of knowledge of the laws of the game. My name's Etihad. I'm a director of URF. I've been involved in URF since 1981. Started off as an article in the Shoot magazine and then evolved into The Guardian, the national newspaper, where the public send in their questions and along with Artists Pavilion, we provide the answers. Out of which it's then evolved that what we want to do is to fill a gap, which is the transfer of skills and experience to younger referees coming up the ladder. We pass on through our team of experts that we've brought together, former Premier League and international referees, both here in England, and we have a number of international referees working with us overseas.
Well, I'm Roger Dilks. I'm a former Premier League referee. I also coached Premier League referees, was one of the first coaches in this country, being responsible for a lot of the referees that referee in England at this moment in time. I've been working with URF for about 3 years now, and I'm one of the senior coaching team. The referees that we have here will get some practical experience actually refereeing football matches. They'll also get some experience of being assistant referees, and they'll be assessed, and we will discuss with them on a one-to-one basis any performance issues, any areas where we believe that we can improve their capability, and obviously compliment them on the things that they do well. Referees need to know how to warm up before a game. They need to understand how to warm down after a game, and they need to know during the week what sort of training routines they will need to engage within to get the best of themselves of a weekend or midweek games. We'll also do some work on nutrition, diet, so there'll be lots of interactive sessions, lots of very interesting stuff that, I'm sure they'll enjoy.
My name is Braden Crampert. I'm 26 years old. I'm born and raised in Toronto, Ontario, in Canada. My refereeing career has gone on for about 13 years now. I started out when I was 13. I heard You Are the Ref through the pro organization, and I followed up, and I guess the rest is history. And I'm here in England participating in this program, so I'm looking forward to it. For me, it was a chance to sort of get out of my comfort zone in terms of refereeing and just experiencing a different atmosphere altogether. It was more of a challenge than anything for me to do this.
For anyone that comes over here to train or just to be here, It's an atmosphere that we don't experience back in the States.
I want to see what feedback they give me so I could progress myself as a better referee. Hopefully it'll be the next FIFA referee.
First and foremost, there's been an introduction to what we're actually doing. So we've been through the plan with them so that they understand where they've got to be, what sort of things they have to take with them to the grounds, etc, etc. We've done some icebreaker sessions, and we're going to watch a little bit of football just to close the day down.
We've looked at training camp locations all over Europe, the US, all over England, and there's some high profile locations in England, but this facility at Etihad is just beyond compare. We've got the main stadium across the way, we've got the first class pitches, indoor, outdoor, performance centre, and we've been fortunate enough to have the first team accommodation block as well. So we couldn't really have asked for any better environment in which to set the camp.
We arranged to have some games this morning, so we were lucky enough to have this indoor facility, which you can see is absolutely fantastic. The referees saw the first team on their training, which was fantastic for them. And then obviously we got down to the business part of the day where we arranged for a couple of academies to come in and the guys to referee the games, and it was good. It's for us to see the referees and what sort of level they're at and their positioning, their recognition, not being overcritical, not looking for negatives, but we're looking for positives. Obviously there is one or two negatives, but just in the general movement of the game, their recognition of foul, non-foul, reckless, careless, their positioning, and the way they deal with players, the way they talk with players. It's all about helping them in their careers in the future, which we've got abundance of coaches that can help these referees go forward.
We had training down at the training grounds. That was great because we got to referee 30 minutes each. I was an assistant referee for the second 30 minutes. And in the times that we were not refereeing, we were sitting back and assessing. Following that, we sat down and had Augie speak to us and give us some advice on the assistant referee and when to get involved and when not to get involved, and the decision process that it takes and how it's an art.
Really getting advice and a perspective from the top officials has been very fantastic. There's so much more than just applying the laws correctly. That's in a sense a basic format, but what does the game need, and how does whether it be a substitution change or a position change, and being able to recognize that, and they've done it for so long at the highest level that it's very quick for them, whereas for myself, I'm still learning that. The experience is unlike anything I've ever been a part of.
Following that, we had a great time getting to meet with David Moyes. That blew me away. I had no idea that was even on the list.
I spoke to David earlier on in the week, and he had no problem at all. Came and spoke to the referees and gave us his perspective on referees. Spoke about his career and what he expects and what he wants from referees, and how he wants them to perform and how he wants them to perform and speak to his players. So it was an eye opener and an insight in which I think that the guys absolutely were thrilled and amazed that we had someone of David's calibre to come and speak to the referees. It was fantastic.
Well, my background refereeing goes, it's almost 20 years now. Started working with the Premier League and the Football League referees back in 1998 as the fitness coach. And then when the referees became full-time, I was seconded as a sports scientist. In 2002, I went to work for FIFA, referees, for a couple of years. And then from 2004 to 2009, I worked full-time as the PG and Wales sports scientist. So I was head of sports science for the referees here in England. And since then I'm working at Etihad University as an academic, but researching a lot to do with sports science, and I still have an active interest in referees, the training of referees. Well, we've got a fitness session this afternoon, and the plan with that is that there are lots of different fitness components that make up a match official's fitness. So it'd be their endurance, the speed, the flexibility, the power. And we're going to look to give them different aspects of these fitness components. So again, education on the pitch, sessions that they can take away and do back home, either individually or as groups. It's all about the education, getting them to train in the way that the professionals do. And we're just going to give them all the tools to enable them to do that.
Ben Oakley, I'm 33 years old, just turned 33 last week, from Seattle, Washington. Been refereeing, this is now my 7th year as a referee. There's drills that we can do now. We have a camp coming up here on March 19th that there are drills in here that we learned, that Josh and I have already talked about, that we will use on March 19th. As a referee at a relatively high level in the States, what I've been able to glean from this, I'll be able to put into mine, and then hopefully that trickles down over time, so when the younger referees that are 19, 20 years old today will be able to do that in 10 years.
We've gone to the National Football Museum, and that was fantastic. Just seeing the history of football and from the very beginning, the first law book, all the way up to what we have going on now.
The museum itself, it's how can I describe it other than what a treat, what an experience to be able to see and touch the FA Cup, to be able to touch all the stuff that we did. I mean, I have 2 brothers back in the States that played, and they are going to be very jealous of the pictures I'm going to send them when I connect to Wi-Fi here.
We did quite a long session on recognition yesterday, and today I'm hoping to do some specialist work with them, particularly about assistant refereeing, because that's kind of the purpose of why I'm here. So I'm going to run a session purely on running the line. Fabulous facilities. I mean, I've been fortunate to see the facilities throughout the world, not just Europe, and this is better than anything I've seen. I mean, what we're trying to say to them and give them a feel of, this is achievable for you lads, if you're enjoying the facilities that much, get your head down, work hard, you'll get more than a taste of this.
Played nearly 400 games, Newcastle, Peterborough, Brighton, Watford, Derby. Went into coaching when I was 34, 35. Manchester City, Manchester United, back to Derby County, and I'm now working with the England Football Association with helping out with various age groups. Really, it was a good opportunity for me to give an insight into my thoughts on the way the game's developed from when I was a player, putting it in a perspective from a coach's and also as a goalkeeper's point of view, asking referees what they see as their problems. If we appreciate what their problems are, I think they then might reciprocate and say, well, how do you see it as a player? How do you see it as a coach? And if we get a common ground or a common bond in terms of agreeing on certain principles, I mean, we've got rule changes being implemented. Fantastic that the goal line technology came in. What a difference. What would this have done to the game 10, 20 years ago in terms of relationships? Can we help influence better behaviour by players, by parents, by managers, which will help the referees? So, obviously I know there's the respect campaign, but it is important. If you don't have dialogue, you're never going to understand what other people's problems are.
What I've come to notice is just the all-around professional atmosphere that's here.
It's rare to be able to have referees that have refereed at this level, to get the training from them. A lot of folks, when they're done refereeing, they're done. And so for the fact that we had this opportunity to have these guys come and help us out is tremendous.
It's been a fantastic event. Honestly, nothing like we've ever done before. We've been to a number of different academies in the States, and I think one of the biggest things was just the facilities and the accommodations. Was one big part of it, and also being able to attend the Premier League match was fantastic.
The interaction that Eric Steele had with the group was top-notch. Having him talk about how keepers really get to see the field and really get to have a better perception of what is going on in the field and how referees should have the big picture that goalkeepers have. Really brought into light that we are, a part of the field, a part of the, 23rd person, as he had brought up.
It was beyond my expectations. Coaches were very helpful. I was very grateful with everyone. Having the honor for Mark Halsey to be my assessor in my game. Yesterday we had a scrimmage game, and he was my assessor, and learned a lot from him, from the teachings he told me to do this, do that.
I think they'll take away a number of things. The fact that they've had an opportunity to officiate in a number of games where they've had coaches carrying out one-to-one appraisals of their performance, so they've got action plans to take back to the States with them that they can work on. They've listened to some top-class speakers such as David Moyes, Eric Steele and others. They've had some excellent coaching in classroom scenarios and on the field of play. And the feedback that we're already getting is that's the kind of training and development and support that they don't get in the United States.
Our aim is to put in a lot and get the outcomes. So in a few years' time we will see referees that have come through URF and they will go on to be top quality international referees.
They'll go back to the States a little bit better prepared for their next match.